Welcome back to the preview show for Charlotte, the Coke 600. I'm Casey Campbell. Thank you for joining us. And look who's back. After 3 weeks out, Jonathan Fiel returns to the preview show. Good to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Got a lot of racing coming up and a lot of exciting stuff behind us, a lot of exciting stuff ahead of us, too.
First off, big congratulations on graduating college from Minnesota State, buddy.
Yeah, go Mavs, Mankato grad. So, mass communication studies. So, I'm I'm happy to be done. It's good to be done with the schoolwork, but yeah.
Oh, bless you. We got a big weekend ahead of us. We got the Coke 600. We also have the Indy 500 this weekend as well. A lot of racing to go on. A lot of stuff to dissect from COTA, but we're going to go right into Charlotte. Lots of news happening. And I know you've seen a lot of stuff. We won't get time for everything, but let's start with tomorrow night's truck race, because for a while we've seen Toyota get all these wins, and then all of a sudden Chevrolet won at Darlington, and then Ford got their first win at COTA with Todd Gilliland. If I'm Todd Gilliland, I'm coming into Charlotte confident with this 38 team. And Front Row Motorsports, what a year it's been for them, winning the Daytona 500 and then getting their first win in trucks. Todd's going to be a threat, but name some other guys that you think are going to be up there.
I remember last season, Zane Smith had a really strong race in the truck series at Charlotte. He battled Kyle Busch when Kyle Busch was in the race, and got a good third place finish. I think he passed Kyle Busch for the lead at one point in the race. It was a real breakout race for him, so I think he'll be a threat. You mentioned Sheldon Creed. I think he'll be another threat in the race. I mean, Sheldon Creed's good anywhere. I mean, he's a defending truck champion for a reason. He could be a good contender. Ben Rhodes, of course, he won first two races. Kind of, cooled down a little bit, but I still think he can make a good run at the win this weekend.
Yeah, of course, you got some good ones. Christian Eckes in the 98. I think he's going to be strong. You got John Hunter Nemechek, of course. You can't go past that Ford truck. You got Drew Dollar. He'll be in the 51 this week for the second time this season. Ty Majeski is back in the 66 for Thor Sport Racing for a 2-race deal. So this is the first of two. So now, we kind of go into that. And also Sheldon Creed, sponsorship from Lift Kits for Less for 12 races on the year. That was just announced. So big time for Sheldon. I'm tired of seeing blank white trucks out on the racetrack. And of course, Marcus Lemonis has dealt with that issue, but we don't want it. And then, of course, we know what happened with Marcus and Sheldon. Let's not go into that. But Sheldon, happy that Sheldon got some sponsorship. Lift Kits for Less, of course, they've been on Timmy Hill's car. Happy to see them use their company to sponsor in NASCAR. So that's always going to be good. So the North Carolina Educational Lottery 200 on FS1 tomorrow night. Speaking of FS1, 2000th episode tonight of NASCAR Race Hub. Of course, everyone's grown up with Race Hub. I've gotten a chance to talk to many of the Fox people throughout the course of the year. Always been great to talk to. Race Hub sets the gold standard for me for NASCAR programming.
Yeah, I remember when the first episode of the show, I think it was Mike Bliss was unveiling his Wave Energy drink car with Tommy Baldwin Racing, and I remember there was like the introduction of KBM was on that show too. It's cool to see how far it's come. I remember too, like one of the coolest moments like watching Race Hub was being in Charlotte. We had just flown in and we had been out and about and stuff. We were watching Race Hub and talking about the teams and the shops and all that. And we're like, wow, we're like just a couple miles away. So yeah, happy 2000 episode of Race Hub. Good little show.
Yeah, congrats to all my friends over at Fox and NASCAR on Fox. They've done an excellent job with that show. Let's talk a little bit of Xfinity. We got with the Xfinity series. There's been so many different winners, but for the past few weeks, the big story has been Junior Motorsports. They kind of started off the year not so good, but now all 4 cars are performing well. You got Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, Justin Allgaier, and Michael Annett all performing really well so far. And what are your thoughts on them, and what has changed with Junior Motorsports? Because I think that they have turned into the team to be.
I think they've always been good. It's just that the luck was absolutely terrible, as we talked about in previous episodes. And I think also just having Josh Berry driving for the team and having some good performances. I've been amazed with just how much he's broken out, especially since his Martinsville win. And yeah, I think just getting that luck and just being able to put together performances, because strictly from a performance, if you just look at running well, yeah, that doesn't really do much for how the car runs or how the engines perform and whatnot. But just the mentality with the crew, it gets them hyped up, it gets the driver hyped up, it gets everybody running and moving a little quicker and more confident, and I think that really has helped the morale of the team, really helped the performance overall.
I think Kaulig Racing is going to be strong. You got Team Penske. I know Stewart-Haas hasn't gotten there yet, but one of the teams that hasn't really been up there, or they've been up there, but they just haven't won really, is Joe Gibbs Racing. Yes, Ty Gibbs won at the Daytona Road Course. Yes, that 54 car has been strong. Yes, we've seen good runs out of Harrison Burton. We've seen good runs out of Daniel Hemrick. We've seen good runs out of Brandon Jones. But outside that one win that Ty had at the Daytona Road Course, there hasn't been any. The Gibbs cars have not been to victory lane, the 3 full-time cars. Do you think that changes this week?
I think Daniel Hemrick is probably going to have the best shot of any of them. He ran well at Las Vegas. He contended with AJ Allmendinger. I think he'll probably have the best shot. But I want to touch on Brandon Jones because he's run well, but he's had a very feast or famine season because he has 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 7 races where he's finished the end of the race. But he's also had several races where he's finished out of the race. He's finished off the lead lap, either top 5 or out of the race or having some sort of issues. So I think, I don't think performance is the issue. I think it's like JRM, just being able to put together those good runs and get the performance going. And I honestly have been impressed with the way Brandon Jones has run just when he hasn't had issues. He's run well. He's run top 5, top 10, making up ground as the runs go on and really showing improvement as a driver. So, but yeah, I think Daniel Hemrick probably will have the best shot of any of the non-Ty Gibbs Xfinity drivers.
Yeah.
Of course, Ty Dillon in the car this weekend.
And Ty Dillon in the car for Our Motorsports in the number 23. Oh, you got a lot of people. Tyler Reddick in the 31 for Jordan Anderson. Chase Briscoe's in the 99 this week for BJ McLeod. And, we've seen, and they're also running 4 cars. Stephen Parsons is going to be in the 76. Best Buy's back in the Xfinity Series with Ryan Vargas. I know he did an appearance out in South Carolina. A lot of people had fun out there. I think it was Noah Talks NASCAR who went out there and hung out with Ryan and stuff. But yeah, good to see. But we got qualifying this week. Remember how it works. It doesn't happen that often this year, but you have to qualify in the top 31 to lock yourself into the show. And then provisionals will get the rest of it in. Does that sound like, that sounds like 2003, 2004 qualifying, if I'm not mistaken there. But these teams, these Xfinity and truck teams, are under a lot of pressure to get in.
Oh, definitely. There's a whole battle going on between, I think, Jordan Anderson Racing and MBM and one other team, too, that's going on for owner points, basically to lock into these next few races where there isn't going to be qualifying going on. So it's great that Jordan Anderson Racing has Tyler Reddick in the car because Reddick can, Charlotte, running up against the wall, running multiple grooves, that's his bread and butter. And that's really going to help Jordan Anderson Racing. I think I could see them running pretty well this weekend. I could see them being a top 10 team easily with Reddick in the car.
Yeah, of course. Josh Berry's going to be in at Mid-Ohio for for Jordan Anderson, of course. Miguel Paludo will be in the 8 for Virginia Motorsports next week when they go to Mid-O down at Mid-Ohio. Of course, and then you got the Cup Series this weekend, the Coke 600. This is a big race, and it's the longest race of the year. But there's a lot of storylines that we have to go into. You know, there's Hendrick Motorsports, there's Joe Gibbs Racing, there's Stewart Haas Racing. And there's Team Penske. There's a lot of storylines you can go to from that. But there's a couple guys out there that's been really strong. You know, if you talk Coke 600, you have to talk Martin Truex Jr. because he's just been absolutely the man to beat at Charlotte in the Coke 600.
Yeah, for Martin Truex Jr. in the last 10 races at Charlotte Motor Speedway, he actually has a 4.4 average finish and 9 top 10s, and that is 6 positions better than the next driver, which is Kurt Busch, who has a 10.4 average finish in the last 10 races. That sounds like a lot of numbers, but all you need to know is that Martin Truex Jr. has been really good at the track. I mean, 3 wins in the last 10 races. I mean, he's going to be, as we've seen this season, Martin Truex Jr. is a mainstay up at the front of the field. So I think he's going to have a good race this weekend.
Okay, so all the Hendrick cars have won this season. As of course you said, first time since 2014 that's happened. You know, of course, Chase Elliott, this was his race to win last year, and then he lost it. But if there's anybody that's coming into this weekend that wants to get it done, it's Chase.
Yeah, first win last weekend of the season. Of course, at a road course where Chase has excelled. I think, you know, Hendrick Motorsports, they ran well in last year's Coca-Cola 600. Alex Bowman led laps. Chase ran pretty well. Jimmy Johnson ran well. We'll mention the disqualification at the end of the race, but William Byron had a pretty good run. You know, so I think Hendrick Motorsports will be back. I think they'll have a pretty good run. I think Chase has a great shot at redeeming himself. I think about Las Vegas, you know, when Kyle Larson ran pretty well, Chase Elliott ran pretty well. We could see a similar type race like that.
I think we could. Okay, so who are some teams that you're watching out for specifically? Name 3 drivers that you're watching for the Cup Series, and I'll name 3 as well.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm going to be watching for Denny Hamlin. Of course, Hamlin has run really well. I think I looked at some stats the other day. He's led the second most laps of any driver in the field this season, but he's yet to go to victory lane. I think that could change this weekend. Denny, you know, he has won before, of course, and I think he'll be one to watch for. I think another one to watch for will be Aric Almirola. Aric Almirola, I mean, he's run well at intermediates before, but he's just, I mean, I think the lack of rear downforce and getting that downforce taken away had a big impact on the team and their performance. But I'm curious as to how they're going to perform in the 600 this weekend. I think another one too. I want to see how Chris Buescher is going to do too, because he's had some pretty good runs on some of the intermediates, some of the rougher tracks. Of course, Charlotte's more of a smoother surface and whatnot, but it's a bumpy racetrack, and Buescher's solidly in a playoff spot right now, and heading to another intermediate. I think he'll be another one to watch for to see if he runs like the top 10.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of guys that I'm going to watch out for. I'm going to go in that Hendrick camp, and I'm going to talk about Alex Bowman, because this is the year that he has had just explode. This is his year. And of course, he's in a contract year. He's won multiple races for the first time in his career. I got the chance to talk to Greg Ives last week, and he basically, you know, that team is absolutely rolling right now. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the 48 team of old. It's like Jimmy Johnson. It's like Jimmy Johnson's back in the car, but it's Alex Bowman. This is Alex Bowman's breakout season. And I think that the 48 team is going to be the team. They're not the team to beat. I still think that's the 9 team, but they're getting there. They're getting to be that team to beat week in and week out. You know, obviously Brad Keselowski is going to be one to watch as well. And everybody knows what he's been he's been in the headlines a lot lately. Of course, we haven't heard. There's potential that he could possibly go to Roush Fenway Racing. Of course, it's, I mean, Jim Utter reported, and then basically sources are telling Bob Pockrass that he is going there. Obviously, we won't know until later on in the year, until when these clauses and contracts, all the legal stuff that I don't know really much about. When those dates are set, I think we're going to hear a lot more. But Brad Keselowski is still, I think, going to be a threat for the championship this year. I'm not sure how much that Roush Fenway stuff is getting to him about what his future is going to look like, but I do think that 2 car is going to be one of the cars to beat. And here's something I want to keep an eye on. One driver that I would like to keep an eye on is Tyler Reddick. Now, Tyler Reddick is somebody that has finished 4 out of the last 5 races, and you can look this up for me. 4 out of the last 5 races, he's finished inside the top 10. Consistency. I just think that this has been the year for Tyler. Just looking at just so much improvement from his rookie season till now. And I think he only had I can't even remember how many top 10s he had. Not as much as he had this year. I know I remember looking it up, but I can't think of it right offhand. But Tyler Reddick, I think, is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, last season he had 9 top 10s, which we all thought was very impressive, but now he's gone out and scored 7 top 10s, and we're not even to the halfway point of the season yet. And Reddick will be. It'll be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what he can do in a Penske car, because I think RCR. Like a ride like that, not necessarily Penske car, but like some sort of, a ride, one of these rides that are kind of like, that could open up like in the silly season. I'm not speculating anything. I'm not saying anything at all, but just kind of thinking about with Reddick. He has had ties with BKR before, and just thinking about that, because he's run well with Richard Childress Racing, but there's good equipment, with Penske. And I think it'd be interesting to see what he can do in that ride, in that environment.
Oh boy. Tyler Reddick to Team Penske. Goodness gracious. Possibly. Who knows?
Nah. It's kind of like
this is why I love silly season. Not as much as Michael Carey does, but I love silly season.
Oh yes. It's like last season when everybody, when people were saying Rick would run pretty good in Hendrick equipment when the 48 was open and stuff like that. So it's fun to think about. And
it is fun to think about. Yeah, Tyler Reddick is going to be one to watch. Okay, yeah, I know you haven't done this in a while, but it's time for some picks. And don't forget the ARCA. And by the way, we're not making ARCA picks because the ARCA series now has its own preview show. Always good chatting with Charlie from the ARCA series to talk about the upcoming ARCA Menards series race at Charlotte. And next week it'll be the 1500th race for the ARCA Menards series next week at Mid Ohio. So excited about that. All right. Okay, for trucks, I will take this one. You mentioned him in the show, but we're going to see a new winner this year. Not a first-time winner, but we're going to see a new winner this year at a track where this guy came on the scene. Zane Smith is my pick to get it done this week. I think that 21 Good Sam Chevrolet is going to get it done and put it in victory lane at Charlotte. Of course, he impressed everybody when he raced Kyle Busch last year and Chase Elliott last year at Charlotte. He's going to get it done. He's going to put it in victory lane.
Zane Smith. All right. Well, I'm going to go with one guy who is, he hasn't been running as amazingly as he did at the start of the season when he was racing with his owner and beating his owner. But I'm going to go John Hunter Nemechek. I think John Hunter Nemechek will get it done this weekend in Charlotte.
That's a good pick. Toyota needs to get. And it's like Toyota. We've been in victory lane all this time. We need to get back there. Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek. Remember, he is here for wins. So. Who knows what could happen there. All right, we got the Xfinity Series this week. We got it's the annual drivers only broadcast, so a bunch of drivers are going to be in there to see there. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney in the booth, Eric Jones and Christopher Bell on pit road, and then Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Chad Knaus in the FS1 studios. Always a fun broadcast to be shown, of course, led by Kevin Harvick as the play-by-play guy. So this is definitely good. That's going to be fun. But we got a lot of. It's going to be quite the Xfinity race. Who you got, buddy?
All right. I'm gonna say Daniel Hemrick breaks through and breaks that second place streak, gets his first win.
All right. Whoa! Daniel Hemrick's going to go to victory lane, you think?
I think so.
All right, that's a good pick, and yeah, it's I am one more thing on that. I am surprised to see that Daniel Hemrick has not been to victory lane. It's like he's ran so well, he's gotten a lot of rides, and he hasn't been there. It's time to go there, Daniel. So it'll be fun to see Daniel Hemrick win. But my pick is the new father this week. Justin Allgaier is going to get it done this week. Of course, he and his wife Ashley gave birth to, I don't want to screw this up, but young, I think it is, oh boy, I think it's Willow Allgaier, if I'm not mistaken. That is his second child. Harper is excited to be a big sister, so definitely should be fun. And I did get Yep, I did get it right. It's Willow. So
hey, nice.
Yeah. So
that's right.
Yep, Justin Allgaier is gonna get it done. A good week for him, and he's gonna translate it into a win. So gonna go on the Junior Motorsports momentum, and we're gonna see where it goes. All right, let's pick. All right, the Coke 600, big Coke 600. My pick's gonna surprise you a little bit.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Alex Bowman. Bowman, the showman, is going to get it done this week at the Coke 600. As I said, I think that 48 team is getting to be the team to beat every single week.
Ooh.
I just think that it's they're not there yet, but they're getting there. I just think that they've been so consistent. I think that win at Richmond just kind of let the floodgates out. That it's a big win, and Alex Bowman's it's just a fun guy to be around. Of course, fun crew chief and Greg Ives, obviously I've had experiences with the folks at Ally, good all around company. By the way, remember they're, as Ally would say, they're doing it right. I'll say that. So Alex Bowman going to get a big crown jewel win at the Coke 600 this weekend.
There you go. I mean, the 48 team's been very good at Charlotte, so that's a pretty good pick. Yeah. It's interesting. Fun fact about the 48 team: they have never had a season where they've only scored a single win. It's either been 0 wins for the 48 team in a season, or it's been 2 or more wins in a season. Never a single win season. Likewise, Denny Hamlin has never scored a single points-paying win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Only won in the 2015 NASCAR All-Star race. I think he changes that this weekend in the Coca-Cola 600. So Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin's going to get that. Yeah, that's surprising that Denny hasn't gotten that win. So, Denny hasn't won. Kevin Harvick hasn't won yet. But look at you dropping the stats. Yeah, that's a good pick right there. So, All right. And by the way, the Indy 500, I'm picking Graham Rahal. This is the year. Graham, come on, get it done. This is the year you got to do it, man. Of course, the Rahal team, they're going to make it 2 in a row. Graham's going to get it. He's got a good shot at it. Those Ed Carpenter cars are strong. Those, Team Penske hasn't been strong as much, but at the end of the day, if you want to win the Indy 500, you got to go through those Ganassi cars. It's just that, Scott Dixon's been in that position to win it, and he just hasn't. And then at the end of the day, it just hasn't come through for him. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's the Indy 500. Anything can and usually will happen. So, but anyway,
as a Midwesterner, I've been very happy walking into Hy-Vee because they have all the racing gear for the Indianapolis 500 and stuff. And I saw a Graham Rahal cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Scott Dixon's going to get it done in the Indy 500. I think we
Yeah,
did him.
yeah. I'm surprised the Iceman's only won out of all the races that he's won. He's only won the Indy 500 one time, and that was in 2008. So it'll be good to see the Iceman get it done for the second time. But yeah, I'm going to be excited because I'm going to Detroit in 2 weeks, so it's going to be fun. You're going to be on the road as well in a little bit, so it's definitely fun for us as we go along. But that's going to be the preview show this week. That's Jonathan Fiel. I'm Casey Campbell. Enjoy the racing weekend this week and tune in next week. You never know who's going to be next to me. It's probably going to be him. But we're going to preview Sonoma and Mid-Ohio. Sonoma for the Cup Series. Also, the ARCA West Series is going to be there, where a lot of Cup guys like to run. And then over in Mid-O, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, as well as the ARCA Menard Series, as we mentioned, are going to be there as well. All right. Enjoy the race weekend, everybody.